Hi everyone, my name is Gary, and I'm here today to talk about something that I think we all deal with, but we probably don't think enough about. It's about the battles that happen inside of our heads every day. Now, I'm going to take you into my brain, and I know that's a pretty complicated place, so I'm going to simplify things. I want you to imagine that there are three main parts to it. Think of it a bit like a boxing ring. In one corner, we have a chaos monkey, and in the other corner, we have the CEO. And then there is the crowd, who have their own section of the arena. Before the fight begins, the crowd is buzzing. They're collecting all sorts of bizarre things from everything they see, hear, touch, and taste. It's like they have no filter. They never forget. They just hoard everything, all the colorful and not so colorful memories of our lives. They are constantly recording images on their phones and uploading them. The souvenir stalls outside of the stadium selling scarves and hats and badges are actually all the times that we were scolded for not performing to other people's expectations, moments when we were embarrassed or when we felt humiliated. The crowd takes everything with it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And mostly, these souvenirs are hidden, stuffed in the most unexpected places. But any of those memories can be accessed in a split second. A face that looks vaguely familiar reminds the crowd of an angry dad. A sniff of perfume or body odor projects them into a classroom where they were laughed at. Or a particular word triggers a history of being ridiculed. The crowd is always ready for anything. And then enters Chaos Monkey. Now, he is ever alert. He was brought up in the jungle where you had to be vigilant to stay alive. A rustle of leaves, an unusual smell, the sight of other animals acting unusually could mean danger. So, Chaos Monkey is always on his mettle. He's a jumble of emotions and acts according to each and every one. To avoid perceived danger or to grab things that he wants, like food, drink, and other desires. The Chaos Monkey doesn't think about tomorrow or long-term plans or morals or values. He lives in the moment. And when the crowd brings out a memory like holding a souvenir scarf, Chaos Monkey is fast to react. He doesn't fact check or ask questions, he just reacts to defend himself or to jump up and down with glee. The Chaos Monkey can be hilarious. You can have a wild time with him, but he's also unpredictable. He sulks, he cuts himself off, and like all monkeys, he throws his poop at everybody else. And he's never wrong. He can't afford to be. It's always better to attack or to hide than to risk being hurt. So he is in the ring. He's bouncing, flipping, entertaining the crowd, shouting the odds and beating his chest. Now, slowly enters the CEO. The CEO is very slow. He takes his time, just like I'm doing right now, because my Chaos Monkey is going a little bit crazy as my auto cue is also doing flips and bounds. So ordinarily, my Chaos Monkey would take control and say, this can't be right. But I'm allowing my CEO just to take over and to say, everything's okay. The people in the audience are on my side, and everything is fantastic. We're just going to pause for a moment. My CEO is going to do what I'm going to advise you to do later, and some of the techniques that I'm going to give you. So the CEO has learned how to deal with these things. He's learned how to talk to people and process information much more carefully than the Chaos Monkey. The CEO has... he hasn't learned how to read very quickly at the moment. The CEO has learned how to talk to people and process information much more carefully. He knows that everyone who looks or sounds similar is not the same. He has also realized that tough times can lead to amazing rewards. He knows that eating too much sweet food, though it may taste great in the moment, if he continues, is going to lead to diabetes. He also knows that getting drunk at weekends may feel fantastic and a great laugh, but the next day when he's trying to concentrate on his work, the headaches and the nausea will take over and he won't be able to do that. The CEO cares about family and friends. He values making the world a better place. He wants to protect the environment. And he's desperate to have stable relationships. Now, it's really important to understand that this idea of the Chaos Monkey and the CEO is a simplified way to think about how we make decisions. It's not an exact representation of our brain. Brain is far more complex. But this model is a way to illustrate how each of us has different drives, emotional and rational, that interact with each one of us. It helps us to understand our reactions and begin to make informed choices. Let's get back to the fight. In each round, the two fighters will be exposed to different stimuli, and they must react immediately. The two fighters will battle for control, and then ultimately Gary, that's me, has to decide what to do. So, let's look at round one. Another human being, Mike, points at me as I walk into the room. And immediately, the crowd brings out placards. Remember when John pointed at you like that when he was angry? In that film that you watched, that bad guy always points before he shouts. Another member of the crowd brings out a recording of my mum. It's very rude to point, dear. Don't do that. The crowd has spontaneously uncovered each of those memories, and Chaos Monkey has sprung into action. Don't you dare point at me, son. Who do you think you are? My body is now tense, ready for battle. My heart is beating faster. My breaths are shallower. I have beads of sweat on the back of my neck. I don't know what to say because the crowd have reminded me that in the past, when I answered back, I was sent to my room. Suddenly, Chaos Monkey wants me to run away. Now, remember, Chaos Monkey isn't all bad. He's actually quite important. He's the one who always is on the lookout for danger. He's the one who gets us to react fast, and he can keep us safe. We need his alertness and quick reactions. The CEO right now is feeling overwhelmed by my body's responses. All the memories and Chaos Monkey yelling, "Run away now!" But slowly, the CEO moves to the center of the ring, staring directly at Chaos Monkey. Now, he's learned that shouting at Chaos Monkey to calm down doesn't help. In fact, Chaos Monkey just gets more irate because he's not being listened to. Quietly, the CEO extends his hand and strokes the fearful brute. "Thank you," he says calmly. "You're right. There might have been danger. But Gary knows Mike. Mike is completely different to his mum and dad. And he's a grown man now who can speak up for himself. Gary is not in any danger." The CEO notices that Gary's heart rate has slowed right down. And his breathing has returned to normal. I am now ready to respond rationally. "Okay, Gary, this is what you say." "Hi, Mike. Everything okay? You don't look so happy right now. What's going on?" This fight is ongoing. So, who wins? Well, if Chaos Monkey is allowed to win, my life will become chaotic, damaging relationships, making poor choices, losing sight of what is important in life, possibly following unlawful paths, taking shortcuts and not doing the required work. On the other hand, the CEO needs to appreciate Chaos Monkey for alerting me to my surroundings and then to assess what an appropriate response might be. It takes time to get this right because Chaos Monkey is faster and stronger and has had far more time to embed patterns of behavior. His responses were great for the jungle and for coping with immediate dangers. But in today's fast-changing world, such responses are very rarely needed. The CEO needs to learn to pay attention to my bodily responses, notice my trigger points, and to understand why Chaos Monkey is acting the way he does. It's all about learning to work together. So, let's have a look at some practical techniques, how we can work with both Chaos Monkey and our CEO. So here's some things that you might like to try. Recognize what your triggers are. When are you most reactive? What situations or what people set off your Chaos Monkey? Take a breath. When you feel your emotions rising, take a few deep breaths just to assess the situation before you do anything. Talk to yourself kindly. The CEO can talk to the Chaos Monkey in a nice way, without berating it, without calling it names, just recognizing what's going on. Practice patience. Because all of these behaviors are embedded, it takes a long time to change them. So you may think, I've done well here, and then the next time you go in that situation, it all goes wrong. That's okay. You're learning. Time and time again. Small steps. Make the change. Be patient with yourself. Focus on your long-term goals. Ask yourself, is this reaction helping me to get where I really want to be? Or is this reaction the way I want to be? Is it the kind of person I want to show myself to be. Understanding the interplay between Chaos Monkey and our CEO can lead to better decision making. And while it takes effort, it's entirely possible to learn to manage our impulsive reactions and make better choices. You are not controlled by your reactions or your immediate feelings. You have the power to influence the outcome. You have the power to be the CEO of your own life and to become the person that you would most like to be. Thank you.